we're sponsored by Yahoo, guys.
Yahoo.
All right, Awesemo, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you with Saturday night, joined by the Sunday night live before lock football crew. It is Nick Lepri. It is Terry McBride, Mr. T McB himself, Digital B21 out there on the Twitter sphere. We are looking at a game. Shall we just call it? It's a game tonight. It's a preseason game.
Is it?
I guess is the way to say it. For those of you just tuning in, thank you for your patience. We were having a little technical difficulty here. Hopefully we'll get that smoothed out. But we have quite a few players that are out for COVID. We have several starters resting already, or like Jalen Hurts is inactive for Philadelphia. We will attempt to suss out what is going on with the Cowboys. As best I could find this morning, Terry and I was messaging Terry at like 6:20 this morning saying, oh my God, look at all these players who are out. It took me 20 minutes to write this. And then it took me 20 minutes to find a scenario that had how the Dallas Cowboys could move second, third, or the 4 seed. So they can't do worse than the 4 seed. They can move up. It takes basically the key piece, I believe, for them to move up needs to be the 49ers, who win and in, beating the Los Angeles Rams. So that's step one. And then Tampa Bay is also involved. If Tampa Bay wins, and that other scenario happens, then Dallas goes to number 3. I don't know that that's enough to move the needle. There's some incentives out there for some of the players. I don't think that's going to move the needle. Both these teams are in the playoffs. They really can't change that much. We're all working with the same player pool. So while it's, can we say shitty on air? Well, we can tonight.
For this game, we can.
While it's a disaster for all of us. So there we go. Terry, what's your general assessment of this garbage?
Oh, I thought we were just going to sign off after that and thank everybody for their time and tell them to hit the like button and get out of here. No, we're actually going to analyze.
Is it too late to? Hey, can we Netflix and chill tonight?
God.
Whoa, EMac.
Yeah.
Terry, what do you got?
Hey, he was even though he wasn't on the poll during the NBA show. Apparently, he was nominated just as the de facto winner if he had been on there. So I don't know if you caught that the other day, Nick, but if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But anywho, if we look at this slate. I think it's just created a ridiculous mess of a scenario where we're kind of taking some guesses at what's going to happen on the field. And I really hate playing games like this, but it can play to a single game slate where you take some of those dart throws and you benefit from it because no other people aren't going to take that risk. They're going to be going to the sound plays that they kind of know of. So I think it makes some sense to spread things out and kind of embrace the ridiculousness and embrace the crazy nature of this slate.
All right, Nick, what are your thoughts on this?
I was immensely saddened to learn that Kerryon Johnson will not be playing tonight. My favorite running back in the NFL. They're saying he's not going to play.
On your very first show of the year?
Yes, I touted him. He's great.
That was going to be the perfect bookend. He's played for like 6 teams. He's been on 6 teams since then.
Yeah, exactly.
He still hasn't stepped foot on the field. You could have had your moment here, my friend.
I know. I was so excited. Literally every running back in Philadelphia is out besides Kenneth Gainwell. I was like, oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be Kerryon Johnson. And no, instead we get Jason Huntley. Very sad.
This is a disaster. How much money are you leaving on the table? Money doesn't matter. Corey Clement is the minimum on DraftKings. So it doesn't matter. We're going to still build lineups on each of the sites. We're going to talk through how we are going to do it. I kind of think we want to do maybe a little analysis first, just because this is going to be a really weird thing. So we might want to organize thoughts. We have about 600 people in here already. So that is going to be key, but we are sponsored by Yahoo tonight. So we will build a lineup there. We'll do one on DraftKings. We'll do one on FanDuel. And if we have time, which this should take about 2 seconds, we will ask some questions or answer some questions. We're going to be asking questions too. And we, of course, will look at any prop wagers that are out there for this game, because there's still some fun to be had with those. So please do hit that thumbs up. It helps us. Please hit subscribe. We're up to 70,400 now. That is a huge milestone, and we're jumping off tomorrow with 4.5 hours of DFS content leading up to lock of the wacky week 18. And then of course we will have live before lock this weekend, as well as they're an afternoon show special this week, Terry. Are you aware of? I just assumed they would Shanghai you onto it. So.
It's I'm pull up this old schedule right now, and I'll let everybody know in the next couple of minutes. Let's take a look.
All right, you can.
It may or may not be.
Yeah, you can check that out. But definitely, we've got some nice deals there with Yahoo.
Looks like
at the bottom of the description here, we do have a link. If you go in on that link and create your Yahoo account, use the promo code, or pardon me, just go in on that link. And when you make your deposit, Yahoo will match you up to $10 once you play in your first paid contest, not the Yahoo sports rewards points, but the actual paid contest. Can be just $1, it can be a quarter, whatever. That'll kick off an email back to us saying, hey, this user came in under your link. Please give them a code for 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. You'll want to check that out. If you guys are in New York State, congratulations. Mobile wagering is now legal as of this morning. That has been enacted. There's an article on the homepage with Alex Baker explaining how to find all of the different bonuses and benefits that are out there. I'm someone in Virginia that got to do this about a year ago. I will say these don't last forever. These initial bonuses, they definitely dry up. I wish I would have taken advantage of more of them when I first did it. So definitely you'll have about 2 or 3 months to do it, but just know they're going to go away or they're going to become far less significant.
Did you hear LaMarca talking on the basketball show before about the New York bonus that he cashed in today? It was a $300 flat bonus from one of them, plus up to $3,000 cash match, first deposit match. So he got $3,300 for just going and giving them some business and putting some money in the account. That's a pretty damn good deal. So we've got all that stuff bookmarked up on the site. Like you were saying, it's in the premium Discord, and Alex has a great article for anybody in New York. Take advantage. That's the best deal you're going to get. Free money.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of those, there's different degrees of what they are. Some of them are very, are quick recovery bonuses, like play through once kind of bonuses, not the drip bonus that we still get sometimes in DFS. So, because I had cleared about $5,000 this year in doing that way, which was huge for my ROI, but that's a one-time deal. Take advantage of it while it's out there. All right. So starting at the top here, we've got the Dallas Cowboys, who, as we've mentioned, sort of have some stuff to play for. From the sounds of it, they're still going to go out there with their starters, which makes sense. I'm hesitating with this because I thought we might get a little more news from them saying they were going to pull back on a few guys. Again, treat this like a preseason game. The starters should be able, if they're able to get a couple scores up, they can turn it over to their backups. But Dallas is going to be without defensive players, Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown, and Donovan Wilson tonight. That's their defensive backs. They're without, and Jaron Kearse also. They're without linebackers Micah Parson and Francis Bernard. And then Michael Gallup tore his ACL last weekend. He obviously is not playing. Left tackle Tyrone Smith and Francis Bernard. I didn't get an update on, I've got Bernard on there twice. I think they're still in the health and safety protocol. Tony Pollard's still back in Dallas with a foot issue. Philadelphia, of course, is without Boston Scott, Howard, Goddard, a bunch of their defenders, Miles Sanders, and of course, who am I blanking on? Jalen Hurts. So we're looking at decimation here. Terry, we're going to let Nick talk about this for a sec since you and I have done all the talking.
I was going to say, don't call on me.
I wanted to let you know you had a moment here. So Nick,
I'm sitting in the back of class on this one. Give all the hard questions to Nick.
We've got a Corey Clement sighting here. He's familiar with playing on this particular field. Is there going to be a remember me moment here? How long do you think Dak Prescott plays? What are some of the scenarios going through your head here? Because we could start looking at some of the Dallas backups if we wanted to get really wacky.
Yeah, I love nothing more than a revenge game, and I think Corey Clement has a very good chance of doing that today for the Dallas Cowboys. In my opinion, this game is going to be absolutely banana lands. We're going to see Dak Prescott, I think, for maybe half the game, I would think, and then after that, they might pivot off of him and go to Cooper Rush, but I'm going to find it very difficult to play a lot or use all the salary, if I'm being honest with you. I think leaving a lot of salary on the board tonight is going to be key in order to have a solid showing. Is my mic messed up or something? EMac like cringed.
No, I ate broccoli before this, and I got some stuck in my tooth there, and it was
I apologize. My bad. It was like, did my my mic just break or something? But yeah. So my opinion on this game as a whole is that this is going to be just absolutely crazy, and I love Gardner Minshew tonight. That's my breakdown.
That's
apparently there's too much yammering going on. I don't know if you're paying attention to chat. So somebody dropped the word yammering on us.
I enjoy that. That's a word I have used frequently.
I mean, if anything's going to make us downshift a little bit and maybe stretch our limbs out a little bit on a single game showdown slate with a bunch of nonsense on it, being accused of yammering. Whew,
I know that's we're a bunch of, you know what that makes us? Yammerers.
Ooh, dynamite reference. Exactly. 2 people in chat will get that. We'll get there, guys. There's Nick just gave some killer analysis on this one. We're getting into the DFS side of this stuff. There's a lot of nonsense to cut through on this slate.
Yeah. So looking at it from that side, I kind of agree. Projecting these guys for about a half is the way to go. Could they get it done? Absolutely. Could we see 70 yards and a touchdown for either CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper? Yeah, maybe even both of them, but it's hard to envision them with lots and lots of production. Corey Clement, I think will come into play reasonably well. And then the tight end, Dalton Schultz, I think is interesting, but he also is a key part of their team. Would not surprise me if he is not there towards the end. Turning things over to the Philadelphia side, we've got a pretty good idea of what Gardner Minshew will do. The question is, will they let him get into decaf mode? If they do, great. I don't know who he's going to be throwing. Well, I know he's going to be throwing it to Greg Ward. There might be a JJ Arcega-Whiteside sighting. There could be a variety of people way down the depth chart there, but at least the ball will be in the air going forward. That could make some things happen. The Eagles really only have 1 or 2 decent running backs at this point with everybody hurt, and I would use the word decent sparingly when we're talking about Gainwell here. They don't have it's going to be some deep backups that are getting play. It's hard to point to it and say, this is the one you want, because it's impossible to know what they're going to do. If they just go run heavy game, we're getting in, we're getting out, we're trying to keep everybody healthy as best we can, then, this could be a quick game. So we'll see what happens. Terry, what's kind of your overarching assessment here? And then we can start building some teams here. Knowing that it's close your eyes and pick, and just know you'll pick the wrong one.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it, right? But I mean, look, the Eagles aren't paying Gardner Minshew $965,000 this year to not get out there and throw the ball when he's called upon. So, I mean, if we're taking shots at guesswork in this game, I think it makes some sense to go to him and to take the shot in the guesswork of the guy who is, at least we know, every play he's going to be touching the ball. Sometimes they're going to have him throw it. Sometimes they're going to have him hand it off. Right now, he's ranked as our second most highly probable person to be the top scorer in this game. When you look at the DraftKings board, he's not getting a ton of ownership, but it looks like, I'm sure we're between updates here because some of these pieces are still behind the curve. So we'll have the optimal lineup rate and these things to discuss as we build these lineups site by site. Hopefully, it'll pop up in the next few minutes. But I think it makes sense to go to the guy that we know is going to be quarterbacking this team for both halves. That's the best bet that we've got on the board right now. So to me, that's kind of the focus. And yeah, you just start picking some of these receivers to start pairing them with, and you go down the list. Eitan made a great point on the afternoon show that we did, that maybe you look to the tight end here, who isn't really getting very much attention at all in that offense, because the calls aren't really going to change. So maybe you just look to I'm completely blanking on his name, Tyree Jackson. And look in his direction, because he's going to be filling in that role where Dallas Goedert would normally be taking those targets, particularly in the red zone. Maybe you just go to that combination and hope for the best, in the idea that, hey, they're going to be looking with a backup QB, some of the shorter patterns, some of the dump offs, and a guy who is playing the position for a number that they frequently call in that situation. So that's one angle to take. I don't love the idea of going to any of these running backs. It's a mess.
All right, let's move on over here to FanDuel. Let's make ourselves a lineup. Terry, we'll let you lead off with this one.
Oh, lucky me.
And
it
Nick,
looks like
I'm coming to you next here. So
I'm ready.
Yeah, and we can pop this up on the old screen there if we have, and it looks like we've got the updated on the lineup builder here.
excellent.
So I'm going to follow what I was just saying, and I'm going to take the guy that I know is going to have the ball in his hands through both halves of this game. I'm going to put Gardner Minshew in the MVP spot.
All right. I am trying to find a contest here. So I get okay. Minshew it is. Nick, who would you like? And again, salary doesn't matter tonight. This is a pick 'em. This is a story, a line. This is playing for certain outcomes.
Yeah, we're going to go with Corey Clement on the other side of the ball for the Dallas Cowboys. I am pretty sure without Tony Pollard here that we are going to be seeing a lot of Clement. I don't know why the team is even still playing Zeke, if I'm being honest with you. Like, they should have put him on ice like 4 weeks ago, but now we're here in week 18. He's going to be active. He's going to play, but I think Corey Clement is going to be seeing a lot of work in this game.
So the one thing I did see about Zeke is he is 75 or 85 yards, whatever gets him to the next milestone. I'm assuming it's 1,000. He is just behind, or if he gets that, he will get, it's only like a $120,000 bonus. So it's not
only 120,000.
Well, at the risk of him getting injured or dinging his knee even more, or what have you, with the playoffs right around the corner, wouldn't you think Jerry's just going to get out hell, he's not even going to get out the checkbook. He's just going to reach in his pocket and hand that money over to him. But it seems more or less insignificant. Whereas Stephon Diggs, if he gets to 100 receptions tomorrow, that's worth $1.3 million. So that has a little more likelihood of happening than this one. But all right. So, oops, sorry. So did you say Elliott there?
He went with Clement.
Clement.
I found it impressive that he found a way to work in a mention of Cole Kmet, his favorite player in the entire league at the tight end position, even though he's not on the slate. That was pretty impressive.
Both of my favorite players here, Corey Clement and Cole Kmet.
I am going to put in CeeDee Lamb. I do think he has the ability against this thinned out defensive core to get behind them or to break through the secondary and get a touchdown. This is assuming a first half score. That's kind of what I'm playing for here. He is going to be one of the more popular options because people are probably going to think the same thing, but I'm good with taking him, hoping to box in some of the Dallas scoring here. Nick, we'll go back to you and then we'll wrap it up with Terry for the final pick.
All righty. Well, I wish my man Dallas Goedert was playing today because then there would be probably a million points scored by him. But now we're kind of stuck in a bit of predicament because we do have Gardner Minshew. So I do want to get one of the wide receivers, but it is kind of up in the air who you want to go with. I mean, Jalen Reagor in 3 years from now might be flipping burgers at McDonald's. So who knows how much you can trust him. I'm going to go ahead and go the opposite thinking here. We're going to go with Devontae Smith. Now, this guy has been about as inconsistent as it gets, but if he does hit in this game, I could easily see him scoring over 25 points. And the assumption here is that maybe the Eagles play the players a little bit longer than obviously the Dallas Cowboys. So if we get a whole game of Mr. Devontae Smith, maybe as a big game. So that's what we're going to go with here.
All right. So the only thing I want to put out there, and I think this is a perfectly fine pick, he is around 50 or 60 yards away from setting the Eagles rookie record for receiving yards. Deshaun Jackson has it. I could see him maybe getting that and then them pulling him because, again, he's going to kind of be needed next week as their best receiver. But that's something where I could see them maybe going for that for him, even though it seems like a kind of a type record. Terry, guess what? We have almost double the salary cap for any other player we wanted here. Who would you like to round this out with?
Anyone? I mean, if we're looking at the tools, right, you can just say Dak Prescott here because he's got the highest probability of being the top scorer, double of what we're getting for Gardner Minshew. It's kind of easy to just plug him in and hope that he plays enough time and happens to deliver on what we've got on the board here for him. It's not the most interesting play. It's not a secure play in the nature that he could easily come out, have kind of a clunker of a first half, not play the second half. And then you're kind of shot in the foot if you go that route, along with a whole big chunk of the field, because 45% of the field is still projected to be playing him in this situation. You could go to Zeke by the same token. You might get an even shorter appearance out of Zeke. I kind of like just kind of riding with the idea of playing guys who are actually probably going to be relevant to the game, probably going to be relevant to this lineup that we've built. And by that token, I'm just going to stick in that Tyree Jackson play that I was talking about before and not really care that it only costs $5,000 and leaves $22,000 on the table. It's bananas. But if you're following the thread of this is the lineup that we're building, this is the idea of what we think this game looks like that we're telling a story of here, I think that pick makes some sense. I think he is the tight end target. The other guy's more of a blocker. I think out of everybody in the receiving core, he's somebody who could get attention and will likely play the entire game.
All righty, let's see here. I wanted to see what were my notes here for Jackson. But he's played in 8 games this year, has 2 targets. So we haven't seen a lot of him. He was someone they kind of liked a little bit in the preseason. Remember, this is a team that traded Zach Ertz. They had a wealth of tight ends. They traded Zach Ertz midseason. Dallas Goedert finally got his chance for the show. Jack Stoll was the kind of the backup guy. But this is a project, and we've seen the Eagles for years take these athletic tight ends that may be a little bit raw and turn them into good players. I'm forgetting the guy they had for a couple of years, and then he went and played for the Bears at tight end, and he was like I don't remember, like a part-time quarterback or something in college. I'm blanking on the name, but it was one of those kind of athletic type guys, sort of they don't quite turn the basketball players into tight ends. They just take these just raw talents and try to get them into a usable form of tight end. All right, let's go over here to DraftKings, build out a lineup here. Where are we on the likes? We are at get us to 200 likes, and I will throw a lineup out there head-to-head style. I do that most of the time. I haven't even built one just yet. I was just going to push Crunch for the lineups I did register for already. I've set no rules, nothing. This is just going to be a debacle of a game. So get us up to 200 likes, and I will donate. Team Money will donate $10 $1 head-to-heads there on DraftKings. Let's see. This could be maybe we'll build out my cash lineup right now. Who would you like to start us with on DraftKings here, Nick?
All right, we are going to go with Kenneth Gainwell, running back of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Kenneth Gainwell was if we're talking about fantasy football, was an interesting pickup roughly 7 times during the season when everyone was getting hurt. And then he never really had that it game. But I think this week here, with virtually everyone gone for the Philadelphia Eagles, he should be the lead back. Even with Gardner Minshew under center, I'm pretty confident he could have a very solid game here.
All right. I do like that. I am going to recommend Gardner Minshew next. Seems relatively straightforward. Terry, is this one where we start to get cute and we consider Cooper Rush? Do we go to Corey Clement here? What are we thinking of? This could be a Cooper Rush lineup.
Well, let's pick left like 25 grand on the table. You said start to get cute. I think we've been doing that.
We're taking a quarterback that's actually not starting
the game. Right. That's definitely an interesting consideration. And look, I mean, I think it's worth doing in a fair share of lineups, right? There's some advantage to doing that. And you're telling a specific story against that Dak ownership in the 11% that people are getting to him in the captain role. That feels aggressive. He is the most frequently optimal play on the board. He is the top scorer probability on the board, but we're not really cutting Dak down aggressively for the idea that he's going to come out of this game early. So if that is the nature of the story that you're telling in that lineup, then absolutely we can go that route. I'd kind of like to see if there's a different direction. Maybe we want to go though with something a little bit more viable. Looking at the tight end position on Dallas, I was going to see if we could look at Schultz, but he's kind of evenly leveraged, so we're not really gaining a ton there. And we've got still question marks about how much he's going to be on the field too today, so I don't love that. All right, what the hell? Let's see what happens. We'll go with Cooper Rush. We'll go with your backup quarterback play there. I'm curious to see where it goes. We've got 30 grand remaining, 10,000 to spend across each position. So we can have basically anybody we want. And it makes for an interesting lineup to build for everybody.
So here's the question. Is Cedric Wilson still going to play towards the latter part of the game, or is he kind of the wide receiver 3? And would it be like perhaps a Malik Turner that gets the action, or Noah Brown? Who are we thinking is the best pass catcher of the reserve type players? And I saw someone say that Blake Jarwin's been activated. I still don't want to play Blake Jarwin. I don't think they push him at all. There's no reason to today. Maybe he gets out there, does the pregame, does a couple snaps or whatever, but I don't think he'll play very much.
Yeah, I could see running a few routes at game speed. Maybe he gets a couple looks. I don't think it's a big part of the game. I wouldn't completely ignore him, though. I think there is the possibility that he takes a key target away from Schultz in some situation. Maybe they go two tight end set and he gets the look instead of Schultz. So there's different ways that could come through, but it wouldn't be a priority play by any means. I do think that the Brown-Turner discussion is interesting. If we're talking about who's actually the best receiver out of those three, it's definitely Cedric Wilson right now. But those guys are, much more likely to see extended run in the second half if Dallas does get out ahead of this one and start pulling some of the starters. I think I'd be most inclined to go towards Cedric Wilson, and that's kind of where the tools lean in terms of the probabilities. But again, we're not being overly dramatic in how we're limiting some of these Dallas guys in those numbers right now. So it depends on the story of the lineup that we're telling here, but I think they're both viable options on this slate, and it looks like everything's bearing that out.
All right, we're 10 minutes away from lock. I'm going to go Cedric Wilson here. He's kind of got one foot in both worlds, so we'll take the chance that he's on the field for 60-70% of the snaps with this one. Nick, we'll go back to you here for the next one.
Alrighty, I'm trying to figure out how much money we should be spending here because I want to go Greg Ward, but then might leave.
We're going to leave gazillions on the table. There's no. We actually have enough money that we could have anybody we wanted right now, and it's not an issue. So money is no object.
Okay.
Well, it is an object, but it's not a constraint tonight.
Okay. See, I want to go with a kicker. But we're not going to do that. That's no fun. We're going to go ahead and go back to Jalen Reagor here. Again, I did say that he might be flipping burgers at McDonald's a couple years from now, but I do honestly think that the team is going to want to show something of this guy. They picked him in the first round 2 years ago. They're going to keep rolling him out there. So I think that with Gardner Minshew, Reagor will be pretty involved. And I did try to look at the stats with Greg Ward. And the last game that Gardner Minshew played was against the Jets, and Greg Ward didn't have a single target in that game. So that's kind of my thought process through that.
All right, Terry, here's the last question. I pose it. Should we go Dak Prescott here and just get all of the Cowboys quarterback snaps?
Well, I was going to be cute and do that. You said let's be cute. And I had it all lined up. I was ready to click on it and start. Yeah.
Oh, I know how you think.
Under. I think it's interesting, right? If we're throwing this into a big tournament build, I might even say, it would be more interesting to me to take one of the lesser receivers even than said Wilson and then make that same move. It would be a very strange way to build this lineup, but I think it gets us even further afield because Seth Wilson is still pulling in 17.2% ownership. He's a little bit negatively leveraged. I don't hate the idea of going to Dak in this last spot. We certainly got the money to spend. Like I've talked about, he is the most likely probable top scorer in the game. He's the most frequently optimal play at every spot on the board. As of the last update, it doesn't look like that's the case in the flex spot. He comes up 55.7% optimal. He was the most optimal play in the captain role. The Gardner Minshew comes up the most frequently optimal, 88.3% in the util spot. But I don't hate that because I don't think a lot of people are going to be going with the 3 QB build here. So it just makes us a very distinct, unique kind of a lineup. And at least it spends a lot of our available funds. So it's not the craziest play in the world to me.
So where did we land? I clicked out of it. So we've got Gainwell at cap or at MVP.
Gainwell, Minshew,
Rush, Lamb, Rush,
Wilson, and Reagor.
Oh, Reagor. There we go.
Yeah, unless you want to go Lamb. I don't know.
No, well, no, that's too. That's too chalky.
Yeah, but nothing is really going to be too chalky if we're playing both Dallas quarterbacks and the Philly quarterback, right? So there is something to that. If we want to swap out Jalen Reagor, let's say, right, that gives us 12-2 to spend. We could put CD Lamb in that spot for 7-2, and then you're putting a little bit more weight into that Dallas passing game from which we're pulling 2 quarterbacks, and you're taking the most likely target to get those receptions from Dak, even if they only both play the first half. So that's not that crazy a call. Still leaves 2,000 on the table. Still a 3 quarterback build that not a lot of people are going to use. So that might be the actual better approach. It's probably more highly optimal, more highly projected. It might get duped. Like if people are building lineups, that's one that would come up. But I would expect that most people who build that lineup would have one of the 3 quarterbacks in the captain spot. And we didn't do that. So I feel like it's probably differentiated enough. Well, I don't know if you can afford it that way. It wouldn't be directly comparable because the multiplier. But still, I feel like this is a unique enough approach that you could do that easily.
Yeah, this is going to be a debacle. I can sense it already. All right, so I'm just going to stick with 32 lineups here. We didn't get team free money. You guys better hit it. We got 5 minutes left. Get us another 25 likes here, and we'll have some fun. We're going to quickly go over to Yahoo. Pardon? We're going over to Yahoo here. They are the sponsor of the show here. Let me try to get up one of their fields. All righty. So Yahoo, take us from the top here. Nick, we'll let you go again.
Ooh, I get to go twice.
Twice, yeah.
How exciting. Okay, so we already went Gardner in one, and then we went with Kenneth Gainwell in the last one. So this one, we're going to go with Gardner Minshew again, because I think that Gardner Minshew is just such a good play tonight. I don't really see him getting benched at all, whereas I see like half the Dallas Cowboys team getting benched. So I think that's why I like him so much.
All right. I am going to recommend that we go we're going to go with Gainwell again. He's just $10. Salary doesn't matter here, but I think he's the second most likely to get touches on his team.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. That's definitely the right way to go there. And then, I mean, just to prove the fact that salary doesn't matter, can I add Corey Clement to this discussion also at $10?
Absolutely. And I'm my cash lineup, and I'm just putting 3 out there I put in 10 out there into the DK lobby. I am playing 3 quarterbacks in my cash lineup. So Team Money is once again out there. Username EMac. What could go wrong with this strategy? I don't know, but we'll find out. All right. So Nick, we'll go back to you here. Salary, of course, is no object. We've got the 3 most likely people to touch the ball for the entire game put in our lineups here. Who would you like to add to this collection?
I think we should go with former Dolphins backup quarterback Reed Sinnett. I'm only kidding, obviously. We're not gonna do that. All right, let's go with that. Would have been funny, but let's go with Dak. I really do think even in the first half of the game, he could easily come in as an optimal player, as long as they don't just bench him instantly. But that would not be my thought process on what's going to happen. All
right. I think we need a tight end. I'm going to say Dalton Schultz to round this out. We didn't play him before. I still like him for that wheel route up the right sidelines with the play with Dak. That could be one that puts him ahead here. So that's the route I'm going to go. Terry, could you look at a couple questions? I've got 3 minutes, so I do want to upload my file here.
Oh, yeah. I like that last pick there. I'm putting in a little weird one that's got all 3 quarterbacks and 2 running backs and no receivers in it, because what the hell is that kind of slate? And I accidentally clicked on the wrong guy. But I am going to go back and try and enter that one that we just built, because I like the idea that we had with sticking the tight end in there at the end in that 3 QB build. So that makes some sense to me. So let me just do that as we talk through it, and let's see if we got any good questions. Schultz is too old to play in the last game of the season. Yeah, sure. Somebody's got to play tight end. I don't know. Eagles don't. Cowboys can't even move up. Nobody's really asking questions. We got a lot of comments. You guys going to play Minshew in this lineup? I think we did. I think it makes a ton of sense to play Minshew. We talked about that. The guy who's going to be touching the ball the most. Nick, out of everybody on the slate, you got to figure he's the guy who's going to be literally have his hands on the ball the most in this game, I would think, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's virtually no way, unless of an injury, of course, that Minshew gets benched. So, again, like we said at the beginning of the video, how much was it? $975,000 going to Gardner Minshew. They're going to play him. He's still a comparable NFL starter, and he may even be better than Jalen Hurts in some cases. So, I think Gardner Minshew will be just fine tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we didn't really touch on the backup in the Philadelphia running game. Are you going to any shares of him here, or is it just kind of all looking at Gainwell for you?
Yeah, I did have, when I was crunching a little bit earlier, a bit of Huntley. I think he's an interesting player. Now, I honestly had no idea who he was until today, so that maybe just me speaking out of my ass or something. But I do genuinely think he could be in a solid spot, because they're not just going to give – this is not going to be like a Christian McCaffrey workload for Kenneth Gainwell, even if he is going to be the majority snap shareholder out of the running backs.
All right. Yeah, got that in 2 minutes to lock, everybody. Just it's not an 8:20 show today. So
That's always one of the key questions with this is what time does the slate actually lock? It's funny that we usually get that at this point in the show too, not at like the beginning of the show. Gainwell is a little bit interesting in the passing game, right? He saw some weeks during the season where he saw some upticks in volume. Like week 4, he had 8 targets. The first 3 weeks of the season, he had 3, 3, and 4, bounced up to 8, then went back to 3 and 2, then had an 8. And then it was kind of went dead for a few weeks there. And then weeks 12 and 13, he popped back up with 4 and 5 targets and then went flat again the last few weeks. So just with kind of a dearth of anybody else to coming out of that backfield, I could see him getting a handful of targets, particularly when you consider a backup quarterback in the role too. So just maybe the idea that he can catch a few passes here, you pair him with the quarterback, and maybe you get a little something in the passing game out of the running back. So when it's unpredictable receivers out there, I think it kind of makes sense to take that approach a little bit.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
definitely agree.
And then just to wrap it up, and even though we're at lock here, I realized that Vita asked a question in chat here, or David did, and we never mentioned the kickers. So here's Jake Elliott, 28 of 31 this season, and he's nailed all 3 from beyond 50. He's yet to miss an extra point. It's going to be it's around freezing right now, or a little bit below, but there's no wind or precipitation. Greg the Leg, my notes say, can he really be called Greg the Leg or Legatron anymore after making just 5 of his last 14 from 50 yards out and missing 8 extra points over the last 2 seasons? Now, remember, they did move the extra point back. It's not the gimme that it was, but he's not even hitting extra points at a 90% clip.
Kickers in general have just gotten so bad over the last few years. I know the extra points have moved back and everything, but I just feel like so many more field goals get missed week to week. I haven't looked into numbers to back this up, but just empirically just watching, or maybe it's just because I watch on Red Zone, so you see so many more of them. That could very much be the case, right? But it feels like kickers have gotten a lot worse. But just looking at them in our tools, I think the only place you really want either one of those guys is in your flex roles. I don't think those guys are really viable MVPs today. They're both under 1% optimal in the MVP or the captain.
Yeah, and initially I had them in what was my shell lineup build, but I've pulled, they're not in it now. Who whatever you guys are playing me is a one-off from whatever we did with the. I don't think I played Rager. I think I played CD Lamb.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
That makes sense.
Cash lineup. Oh, going for the
lineup
safety.
I just threw in those 2 weird Yahoo ones. And what the hell?
Well, fortunately, we have some live sports wagering. That'll be fun. There is a basketball game tipping off in 45 minutes. Jimmy Butler is out, for those of you that missed that news. Hockey, the 8 o'clock slate just tipped off. There's 3 more games. I think it's 2 at 10 and 1 at 10:30. So there's still some action out there tonight if you guys are having some fun. You can check out the free content on Awesemo. There's all sorts of it. We have over 24 articles related to tomorrow for sports wagering as well as DFS, covering all the sites, all the styles, optimals, best plays. The Yahoo baller is, get in the $1 million baller. Crazy if we don't get into that over on Yahoo. It'll be interesting to see if that one fills tomorrow. It has the last couple weeks, but it's still built in $200,000 of overlay. They've got their $10 contest that is a no management fee contest. That's 100 max. They've got a contest where you play $15 contest. There's 24 spots left in that. They'll get single entry. They give you $15 in site credit no matter what. So you're basically playing for free with upside. Jump in that one now. I don't think they're going to launch a second one of that. And then they have several contests that are paying out up to 33% of the field. That's kind of nice. The standard these days seems to be somewhere between 14 and 20%, and a lot of sites you don't even double up anymore. So it's nice they want you to play there. They want you to have fun. They don't want you to have just a sad time in this whole mix. So give it a try. It's a lot of fun over there on Yahoo. So we've got more content for them as well. Pardon?
They're just helping people print money over there. I mean, we can't stop talking about how great those tournaments are for payout structure. And it's like the most underrated thing that we probably don't discuss enough. None of the other sites discuss enough is just some of the contest selection that's out there and just how to focus on that, how to find the tournaments with the best ROI. It's something that comes up a lot in DFS 101 in Discord and the various individual sport channels, but it's so important. And when you've got a site that's basically hand feeding it to you that way, it makes sense to play over there.
Absolutely. But with that, It's been a long day. We're getting out here.
You don't want to discuss this Heat Phoenix game real quick? We had that Jimmy Butler news. I was going to ask if you thought Caleb Martin or Tyler Hero were a better fit. You just want to
Tyler Martin. I
Him too.
combine them. Tyler Hero would be the direction I would go. Don't sleep on Kyle Lowry. Do remember that DeAndre Ayton and JaVale McGee and Jay Crowder are all coming back from the health and safety protocol. They were held out from the last game for conditioning. This is going to relegate Jalen Smith back to the end of the bench. I doubt he'll see any minutes. They have signed Bismack Biyombo. It's now a relatively crowded front court. I don't think we're going to need to see DeAndre Ayton for more than 25 to 28 minutes tonight, but Chris Paul and Devin Booker should see their usual 32 to 34. I'm expecting Phoenix to win by a dozen, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen early. Remember, live wagering. Hat tip to my guy. I got to do it, Terry. First career triple double last night for Mr.
Oh, there it is.
Fred Van Elite. That was a fun game to watch. With that, you can follow Terry on Twitter at DigitalB21. I am at EMac DFS, and it is Nick Lepri at
one day EMac will figure this out.
Notorious FNSTY.
No,
there we go.
FNTSY, but you're close on that one. EMac doesn't know how to spell.
We'll take it out in post. We'll take it out.
Notorious Fantasy without one of the A's. We're not going to tell you which one.
With that, gamers, good luck.